Hello and welcome to Kim's Cozy Corner. My name is Kim and we're going to talk about what seeds we plan to plant this year. This video is all about peppers. So it's time for us to do what I do every year, and that's go through all of my seeds to determine which ones am I going to plant this year. And I have tons of seeds. I've been collecting seeds that are as old as 20 years old, all the way up to seeds that I just harvested this year or I just purchased this year. And since I have so many different varieties of seeds that I will be planting, I am going to divide my what I'm planting this year video up into 4 separate videos. So this is part 1 of 4 videos. Part 1 are just about peppers. And of the many different varieties of peppers that I grow, I'm going to share with you why I'm choosing to grow it. And some of these I'm going to tell you why I'm not going to grow it again. But the ones that I'm choosing to grow this year. So let's first start with our sweet peppers. So no heat peppers is what we're going to talk about first. The first pepper that I'm going to talk about is called a yummy snacking pepper. We harvested seeds for this yummy pepper in 2014. So these seeds are 11 years old now, and they come in yellow, orange, and red. And we harvested these seeds from my neighbor's garden, and I've been planting them now for about 4 or 5 years, and they still do amazing. I always plant too many seeds thinking that I'm going to get poor germination, and then I end up with way more seeds, or should I say transplants, than I need in the garden. And I have more than I can use in my plant sale that I have every year. So by the end of the spring, y'all, I'm trying to give these away. But these snacking peppers are super sweet, and they're bite-sized, 1 or 2 bites and they're gone. They have a thicker flesh. It's not super thin, it's a thicker flesh. Not quite as thick as a bell pepper, but definitely thicker than a Jimmy Nardello, if you know what that kind of pepper is. So we will start with our little snacking peppers first. The next pepper that I plan on growing this year is the Cubanelle. Here's the Cubanelle right here. It did okay in the garden. It wasn't the best pepper that I grew this year. It struggled in my raised bed because I had one, I think, in a raised bed. I had one in a pot, and then I had some in my GreenStalks, and it just did okay. It's a Cuban pepper. It's an Italian frying pepper, and it just did okay. They have thinner walls, and this pepper will turn from green to yellow, I believe. I think I had one that was kind of between a yellowish, reddish, orange color. It's also good for containers, and I did have these in a container as well. So they did okay, but it's a frying pepper, and that's why I am choosing this pepper this year, and I want to give it a chance since it didn't do so well this past year. So that's why I'm choosing the Cubanelle. The next one that I'm going to grow is the Jimmy Nardello. It's an Italian frying pepper. I have it growing indoors right now in my GreenStalks downstairs in my grow room. I also grow it outdoors in the garden. It does really, really well. It's usually one of my earlier peppers that's ready to harvest. It has a really rich flavor too. And so if you wanted to take this pepper right here, you dry it out and grind it up, it would make a really, really sweet, like paprika type seasoning. Now the Joe Parker, which I will also be growing, this one is more of a horn-shaped pepper. And for the Joe Parker, it has a thicker skin. It's almost like the yummy snacking peppers, but it's a larger pepper than that. It's great for roasting if you like to roast your peppers. And this pepper will go from green to red. When you know it's red, you know it's ready to eat and it's sweet. The next pepper that I'm going to grow this week or this year is the Pippin's Golden Honey. This one's out of Philadelphia, and from my understanding, it's an African American favorite. It came around the early 1900s, and this pepper starts out a deep purple color. And I ate this pepper when it was more of a purplish color, and it was okay. It wasn't great. It wasn't bad. It was just okay. And it's a thin wall pepper. Now, once it turned that deep orange color, y'all, that's when the flavor really started to pop. So I was, in my mind, harvesting them too early to really enjoy the flavor of that pepper. So if you let this pepper turn orange and you let it stay on the vine till it's orange, then you will enjoy this pepper. I had to change my setup. I am having horrible lighting issues today. Anyway, the banana pepper, which is a Hungarian pepper, is another one that we're going to grow this year. It is a sweet pepper. It's a wax pepper. It has a thinner skin and it's, elongated, right? It's long. It can get up to 6 to 7 inches long. And it starts off more of a deeper green, then it goes into a yellow color. And then it goes from red to orange. And this is delicious. Now, I've never let them stay on the vine long enough to turn red or orange. I usually pick them where they're more yellow. And for these peppers, I will put them in vinegar, and it tastes just like banana peppers that you get from Subway and some of the other places. And I'll add it to my salad. Delicious. And as I'm talking about horn-shaped peppers, there are a couple other horn-shaped peppers that we're going to talk about. One is the Costa Rican sweet pepper, and I will provide a picture to the side of this particular pepper. It's a Marconi type pepper. This pepper will turn a ruby red and is super, super sweet. And you can harvest this one at about 70 days. I did grow this one last year, and it was an average producing pepper for me in my garden. I grew it in my GreenStalk as well as in my raised bed. And it did produce a little longer than some of my other peppers. And I do believe I have one in the peppers that I am overwintering and brought indoors. So I think there's one that made it indoors. But Costa Rican is a type of Marconi. And then I'm going to do the giant Marconi, which is this one right here. This is a staple for me. I plant it every year. It's an Italian heirloom, so that's always a good thing. Some people will use it for stuffing and things like that. I will grill it. I will roast it. I will put it in my salads. I will also use it as I'm making my hot sauce to sweeten my hot sauce just a little bit. I use it for everything, just to be honest with you. I use it for everything. Giant Marconi. But then the type of Marconi that I love the most is from Burpee's, and it's called Thunderbolt. And here's a picture of that Thunderbolt. Last year, as I was telling folks that the Thunderbolt is the sweetest thick wall horn-shaped pepper that I've ever had. I still hold that to be true when I think about all the different peppers that I grow. It's definitely sweeter in my mind than a bell pepper, than a California Wonder, any of those. It's much sweeter. And if you let it turn that deep red, you can smell the sweetness. You can smell the sugar coming off of it, if that makes sense. It takes a little longer to mature than some of the other Marconis because it says 65 to 80 days. It's usually one of the latest peppers that I have ripening in my garden. So that's why I want to make sure that I'm starting some indoors and that I have some that I'm overwintering so I can get them faster. Now this one, it gets up to 13 inches long. So since it can get much longer than the other Marconis, it takes it a minute before it's fully mature. If you've never tried this one, you really, really should. It also has great, what is it called? Resistance to virus and tobacco viruses. So It's a keeper, y'all. It's a keeper. Thunderbolt, it's a keeper. Now that's all of my horn-shaped peppers. Now we're going to talk a little bit about my bell-shaped peppers. There is a pepper called Zulu, and here's a picture of Zulu. I will not be growing Zulu this year. Zulu is so prolific. I mean, it comes in like a bang. I mean, and it doesn't stop coming. It's one of the first peppers to get ready. It's one of the last ones to stop producing. I am overwintering at least one pocket that has Zulu in it. It's been producing all winter long in my indoor grow space. I have tried Zulu and it just tastes like a pepper. There's nothing wrong with it. Nothing fabulous about it either. It's not super sweet. It's a thin wall bell-shaped pepper. And that might be why I'm not so crazy about it. I like more thicker wall peppers. We're growing it because I overwintered it, but I won't start any new seeds. I just wanted to grow it last year because it was such a deep, dark color. And I tried to leave it on a vine longer to see if it would sweeten up. And I'm not getting any better taste out of it. It's a good pepper. Don't get me wrong. It is a good pepper, but I want the sweetness. I want it to be so sweet, as I said last year, that it'll give you a cavity. I want it that sweet when I'm talking about my sweet peppers. So Zulu did not make the list this year. Since Zulu didn't make the list, I have to plant something else that's going to give me that purplish color. So I am going back to the Purple Beauty, which is just a purple bell pepper. Here's a picture of it. This pack doesn't have a picture on it because I do want a purple, the color. I like all the different colors of sweet peppers, but I want more of a thicker wall and I definitely want the sweet taste. So I'm just going to plant the Purple Beauty. And that will be my purple bell pepper this year. And I'm going to also do an orange bell pepper this year. And it's super sweet as well. And it's going to be a super blocky orange fruit. It says I'm going to get large yields. So we will see because I want more orange colored peppers. I'm also going to do the Yellow Monster. Last year was the first year that I grew the Yellow Monster. And Yellow Monster had some of the largest bell peppers that I've ever grown. I'm going to be honest with you, ever. And they came in first because I started them indoors in my indoor grow space. When I moved that GreenStalk outside, those Yellow Monster peppers were producing like crazy. They're sweet and they can get long. They can get up to 8 inches long and 4 inches wide. And it's delicious. If one bell pepper can give me the same thing as 5 of my yummies, then I need to be growing this bell pepper. So we got a yellow bell. We have a orange bell. We have a purple bell. I am also going to be growing King of the North. Here's a picture of King of the North. King of the North, I'm not starting any new seeds. I don't need to start any new seeds because I have them overwintering already in the indoor GreenStalk planter. I think I have 2 plants already going. I'm not going to start any new King of the North seeds. Blocky fruit, super sweet. And when they first start coming in, I don't know if this is intentional or not, but the peppers are facing upwards. So the bottom of the pepper is facing north. And then as it gets bigger and bigger and starts maturing, it turns itself down. And I had never seen that before. Maybe I just wasn't looking, but that's the first time I saw a pepper actually do that. So that's one of my red bell peppers. And the reason why I'm not going to plant any new ones is because I'm going to try something new. And I'm not even going to try to pronounce it, but I'm going to try this one right here. Now this one takes 90 days before it's ready to harvest, so that's a long time. It's called the Spanish Mammoth, which is another name for it. I can't pronounce that other one that's on there. But it's going to go from green to red. It's been around since the 1800s. It says the 6 to 7 inch cone-shaped pepper are perfect for frying and salads. It's super, super sweet. And so I figured this is a good play off of the Yellow Monster. That's what I was thinking about as I chose this particular pepper. And it's supposed to be disease resistant. I got my reds, I got my yellows, I got my orange, I got my purple. So I'm gonna have bell peppers of many, many different colors. And then we're gonna get into 3 peppers that aren't sweet, but they're not spicy either. These 3 peppers, I grew them this year. They were very productive, and we're gonna grow them again in this upcoming season. One of them is my shishito pepper. Shishitos, you probably get 1 in 1,000 that might have heat to it, but most of these peppers don't have heat. For my shishito peppers, I like to harvest them, and I will just give them a quick fry in the pan and dip them in some ranch dressing. And that's it. I'll just eat it. I'll eat it as an appetizer all by itself. They're that good to me. They're thin wall though. They're very thin wall. I have cut some up in the past and put them in vinegar, kind of like a banana pepper. They were okay, but I prefer the banana peppers that way over the shishitos. So I won't be doing shishitos that way. We will only be growing the shishitos for fresh eating. Now I have froze shishitos before because they came in so fast, and I got to figure out what we're going to do with those shishitos that I did freeze. They also produce all season long. They just kept coming and kept coming and kept coming. Now, I didn't bring any of the shishitos in to overwinter because they grow so fast and they're so prolific that there's no reason to overwinter a shishito plant. The next 2 are, I guess you would say hybrids or cross or whatever you want to call it, peppers that are known to be spicy peppers, but now they have a non-spicy version. So the jalapeno, which is amazing, by the way, is just like a jalapeno without the heat. It has the jalapeno flavor with no heat. When I am making my hot sauce, I'm going to put tons and tons of the jalapeno in there so I can get that jalapeno taste. And then I'll put real jalapenos in there to get the heat. And the other one is a habanada, which is a play off of the habanero. Last year was the first time that I grew this one. It was super fast coming in. The plant was covered in fruit. I mean, there were tons of these on there. When they turned that really dark, or if you want to say bright orange, I mean, they got a deep orange color. That's when I harvested them. I cut these up. I put these on salads. They're a thin wall. It does have a little bit of the habanero taste to it, but it's kind of fruity. It's got a fruitiness to it. I actually just used some of these frozen habanada, some of the frozen habanada peppers in some spaghetti sauce that I just made. The spaghetti sauce has this sweetness to it, and the girls have been eating it like crazy. Usually they'll eat one bowl with the noodles with some sauce on it, and then the second bowl, they just want noodles. They've been eating first, seconds, thirds of the spaghetti sauce and said that it's better than it has ever been. One, it was fresh because I made it from frozen tomatoes that I just went ahead and made fresh spaghetti sauce for us to eat. And it had these orange peppers in it. And most of the tomatoes were yellow and orange. So the sauce has this unique color and has a more sweet, fruity taste, and the girls loved it. Try habanada. If you don't like spicy peppers, you still will like this one. That's a good one to try. That's it for my sweet and no heat peppers. And now we're going to move into my spicy peppers. I'm saying spicy. Most people will say, Kim, those are not spicy peppers. But for my family, this is about as spicy as it gets. They're not going to eat much more than this right here. For the spicy peppers, let's kind of put them in order of heat. And when I say heat, there's not a lot of heat, y'all. Let me be clear. There's not a lot of heat. The first one that I'm going to plant again is the paprika pepper. I initially thought this paprika pepper last year was more like the paprika spice that you get in the store. I didn't realize that you make the paprika spice from sweet peppers or any pepper that you've basically dried and you grind up. I thought this pepper was going to taste like that. Y'all, this pepper got heat. It has heat to it. I don't want you to think that there's no heat. At least mine has heat to it. A lot of people dry it, like I said. It's out of hungry. Y'all, it's got some spice to it. I'm not going to lie. So I've been using this paprika pepper to add the heat to my hot sauce. And I don't put this pepper in my GreenStalk anymore. That's how I know it's hot, because my family told me I lied to them when I put this pepper in my GreenStalk and I said, oh, it's only sweet peppers. I was wrong. I was completely wrong. But the taste is amazing. It does have a sweetness to it, but there is just a little bit of heat. The next mildly spiced pepper that I will be growing is the poblano. And I'm growing two types of poblanos. I'm growing your traditional poblano here. I should say three types. This is the traditional poblano pepper, chili style. You can use it green, you can roast it, you can peel it. It's about a 3 to 6 inch heart-shaped poblano. And it's mild, y'all. This one is mild. It's not that spicy. And then I'm going to also do this mulatto. It's just a chocolate cover poblano, basically. It has a very deep flavor. It's got a smokiness to it as well. It's a poblano. It's not super, super spicy. And I've had a hard time getting this one to germinate. Last year, I was able to get it to germinate. The year before that, I couldn't get it to germinate. So we will see how we do with these two in the upcoming season. That third one that I was talking about are my 24-year-old seeds. They are packaged in 2001. And this is an Ancho 101, which basically is a poblano pepper. It's a poblano. Here's a poblano. Once it looks like this, people call it an ancho. And ancho basically is a dried poblano pepper. We are going to grow them again to just see, for fun, y'all, just for fun. Because my family don't like spicy peppers to begin with. But I'm trying to prove to my viewers and anyone who comes across my videos that you don't have to buy seeds every year. Seeds will last. If you take care of your seeds, they will grow for many, many, many years. My yummy peppers that we harvested from the garden, that's 11 years old, I'm growing them because we like the taste of them, and that's why we're growing them. But this Ancho 101, this is more just to prove a point that you can grow seeds, and seeds that are 24 years old will germinate. Y'all, I put a whole bunch in last year thinking that they were going to have very poor germination, and they didn't. They had excellent germination, and then I'm trying to find a home for them because I can't plant much more than 1 or 2 of these in the garden because nobody's going to eat them. The next one is my traditional jalapeno pepper, and I am going to grow the Tam jalapeno. And the reason why I'm choosing this jalapeno pepper, one, it's mild. It's not super, super spicy, but it's large. It's a bigger jalapeno than some of the little baby ones. So there's an early jalapeno that's very prolific, but they're tiny. They're little bitty peppers. And the Tam is a larger pepper. And that's why I like that one. And it's a milder heat pepper. So I can use more of these when I'm making my hot sauce. Anaheim chili pepper. This is one of my older seeds, just to be honest with you, but here's a picture of an Anaheim chili pepper. I usually only grow 1 plant a year of this. I add it to my hot sauces. I will sneak it into some chili if nobody's watching. This is also a good chili pepper to dry and use as a dried pepper as well. Now, I also struggle with the Anaheim to get it to germinate as well, but every year I end up with at least 1 in the garden. So now I'm getting to my more spicy peppers. I do a cayenne long. For the cayenne long pepper, in my mind, is the most flavorful spicy pepper out there. When I was growing up, that's all my family ever grew. I didn't know there were all of these hundreds of different flavors of peppers. but cayenne is our favorite pepper. When we do want just a little bit of heat, we will cut these up and put them into some collard greens, some turnip greens, spaghetti, right? We will cut them up and put them on anything. And this will also go into my hot sauce. This plant only gets about 2 feet tall, which is pretty cool, which is another reason why I like it. A lot of people will dry this one as well. They are very hot. That's what the package says, very hot. But the hottest pepper that I grow, and there's actually a heat scale that I could put up here for you, but since we don't really eat hot peppers, I don't have any ghost peppers, no Carolina Reapers. I don't have anything like that, so that's why I'm not putting the scale up here. So these are probably mild for most people, but for my family, these are getting kind of hot. The next one is called a datil, I think is how you say it. Here's a picture of it. I grew this 2 years ago, and it did okay in the garden. It was just all heat though. We never got any flavor out of it. So we will not be growing datil this year, but I wanted to share it with you if it's something that you're interested in. I got it as a free seed a few years ago. Yes, it's hot. It came in kind of later than some of the other spicy peppers that I had, but it's hot. My brother loved it, but it's hot. We won't be growing that one this year. The last one that I will be growing this year, though, is the serrano. And this serrano pepper is hot. It is the hottest pepper that I will be growing. The peppers, I leave them in the garden until they turn red because I want my hot sauce, one, to be red. And so that's why I leave them in the garden until they turn red. And I only use these for hot sauce. That's it, just for hot sauce. I'm not talking about, I'm just going to take the peppers, put them in some vinegar and shake it up. No, I'm going to make a very flavorful hot sauce with this pepper. And that's the peppers for this year. That's all of them. And I don't even know how many I named, but I did share a few that I will not be growing. And I wanted to make sure you saw them just in case you're interested in them. All of the packs that I showed you, you can see what companies I bought them from if you're interested in those peppers. But that's it for part one. That's the peppers for this upcoming year. We will get these planted when it's time, and it's not time yet to start peppers yet for me. But that's the peppers that we will be growing this year. Part two will be all about tomatoes. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. And not only am I going to show you what I'm growing, you're going to watch me start it. You're going to watch the transplants grow. And then you're going to be able to see me plant them outside all the way up to including the harvest. So hang out with me at Kim's Cozy Corner. Until next time, and I hope there will be a next time that you hang out with me, Kim, at Kim's Cozy Corner. Bye.